Hello and welcome back to another Avon Bites video. We are on time, shocking enough. But I figured I kind of had this drawing done months ago, and I figured I'd make a video on it. Since it's something I'm very passionate about, which is character design, which I claim to be good at, but I don't do it as much as I should. But this is a good video to at least attempt to show my chops. That's not a lie. But anyway, hope you guys had a good week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're near 2026 finally. Hopefully everything's been good. But anyway, today on the docket, a game that I personally hold dear to my heart, and probably a lot of you as well, is called Zenless Zone Zero, or shorthand to ZZZ, which I will be continuing to call it that for the rest of the video. It is a gacha game. I know a lot of people have a negative connotation when you say gacha game, but I personally like them a lot. Yes, they're very scummy. Yes, they have a lot of tactics that drain you of what you're worth. But as long as you're smart, you have a good head on your shoulders, a lot of them can be fun. Now, ZZZ is a Hoyo gacha, which is probably up there with the big dogs of gacha companies. But ZZZ, I argue, is not as popular as the other two, being Honkai Star Rail and, of course, Genshin Impact, who I also like those as well. But I like ZZZ because the art style is a bit fresh compared to what you normally see, which is more of a, I guess, traditional anime look, if that makes sense. I feel like, and I'm going to post, if I remember, because I tell myself, I'm going to do this, and then I don't do it. I will attempt to post pictures of characters in Genshin, characters in HSR, which is Honkai Star Rail, and then characters in ZZZ. ZZZ has a style to it that is very nice, especially for an artist like me who cares more about style than probably Joe Schmo on the block. It stands out between the two, and I do really appreciate that. Overall, there's a lot of flair in Zenless as well, which I think partially has to do with its kind of American-ish styled vibe. Not all of it, but like I feel like it leans more into it than the other two games do. And the Hoyo discography, that's music. The Hoyo library. And even within that, like something I find that Genshin and Honkai they're locked into is like they have different body types they use for everyone. Like there's like 4 or 3 of them and that's it. Like tall, woman, small, whatever. But Zenless doesn't care. Basically they do it based on whatever the character is. So we have bears, we have fucking wolf people, we have a small bunny. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a good variety of everything and I love that about it. And because of that, I wanted to draw myself, or Vaughn, or whatever you want to call it, my Sona, in the Zenless universe. Because why not? You can literally do whatever you want. And as I get into the rest of the video, I will talk about some of the designs I decided to do and why. I try my best to make it feel like she would be in universe. Though with Zenless, I feel like it's not that hard. You can kind of just pick an area, pick what they do, and then draw them, and it's probably fine. But yeah, enough preamble, whatever. Let's get into the video. But of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like my content. I am feeling optimistic about 2026, so I'm just going to keep pushing with this momentum and hope I stick to it. But let's get into it. Alright, essentially how I'm going to structure this video is I will start with talking about my design philosophies, why I did the decisions, what was I inspired by, and then maybe a little bit of lore, just a smidge, that I thought about months ago when I was actually doing this design, that I remember. But anyway, let's start with the inspiration. So, first of all, when I was making this design, obviously I have the characters in mind, but I didn't pull up any of them because I didn't want to get directly inspired by any. But there were a few characters that I looked back that I pulled some stuff from unintentionally, but like I have no problem with that. Also, they're both from the same faction, which I did think about that a little bit. Because in Zenless Zone Zero, there are factions, or groups, communities, whatever you want to call them, but they're officially called factions. And each one tends to have an identity or a look to them, whether it be because of their job, or what they stand for, or whatever. So for Vaughn here, she's not in a faction, obviously, because that would require me making more characters. But I guess for the sake of it, I need to talk about what she actually does in the world, so it makes more sense. But essentially, first of all, if she was a character in Zenless, I believe I made her an ether support type character-ish, sub-DBS kind of thing. Essentially, I think if she was in a game, she would be like a hacker of sorts that can buff her teammates with her computer, because as you guys probably already know, I'm a digital vampire, so I am within the mainframe of a computer or whatever. But I think she would buff her teammates via her tech, her computers, mods, whatever. But I could also see her being a sub DPS as well. Maybe anomaly. It really would depend. But for now, we're gonna go with a support kind of thing. With that as well, I decided her role in the world of New Eridu is to own a computer shop kind of thing. Come by, you can get your computer stuff fixed, your tech fixed, whatever it is, essentially. It also counts as for her house. So kind of like the proxies, their video shop, of course, is a front for everything going on in the back, but they do also live there. And I thought that fit for Vaughn. So her little computer tech shop is also her home. So when I was doing the design, I thought it was cute and funny that she's barefoot like most of the time, and her outfit's very casual. Because it's her, for one, it's her own business, so she can technically do what she wants. But two, it's her house. So like chill vibes all around, kind of like myself. Her personality will be no different from mine, essentially. She's a nerdy computer tech whiz who doesn't really give a crap about much. Not actually, like, not that harsh, but like she's very chill, you know, good times all around. But anyway, yeah, so her outfit does reflect that. Very chill, very whatever. I like the baggy, sweats and all that, which you don't see that yet in the speed paint, but you will see it later. Also, sidebar, I always have a hard time deciding if I should talk along with the video or if I should just speak as it comes, and then if something that I see is happening, I will bring it up. I'm currently going with the second option. We'll see how it goes, but anyway, design philosophy. I got it back, sorry. So when it came to the design, and who the characters that I ended up being inspired by unintentionally, but like a little bit, you know, I'll put them up here. Her name is Grace. And then the other one, is Anton. They are part of the same faction, which is Bellabog Industries, I believe it's called. Unrelated to Vaughn and what she does, but for some reason the looks of Grace and Anton, like the vibe, I love the bagginess of it all. I wanted to also do that. The goggles, I promise, which you'll see later, were not intentional, but I don't care. They look cool. This is unofficial, so if you're inspired by things, it's fine to be inspired. But other than that, inspired just by design, not by personality or anything. Grace obviously is closer, like inspiration more, because she is also a huge tech nerd, maybe more than usual. But that I'm techie anyway, so it's gonna be like that. But yeah, in the designs here you see bits and pieces that I took it from, but something that I really, really enjoy that is not just a ZZZ trope, but a Hoyo trope is the unevenness of the design. So a lot of designs from media, it's very symmetrical. It's aesthetically to look at, so it makes sense. But in Zenless, in the rest of them as well, a lot of the designs are not symmetrical. There's always something off about something. Usually in the pants or leg area, there's something that's not even with it. Or in the arms. And I really, really like that. And I stole that because I said, well, how am I going to make the design like a part of the world without doing those design quirks? So you kind of see it here in the pants at the moment. I did one side baggied and then one side not. I mean, they're both baggy, but like one scrunched up, and then I had like, I did a cool like hole in the middle of the sweat, but then it was being held by like a strap. Held by a strap, sorry. Which look, it is weird, it's stupid, it makes no sense, it has no practical use as far as clothes, but it's cool. And that's kind of like when I was doing this design, like ZZZ it's like cool. So if it makes sense, who cares? If it looks good, that's really all that matters to me. And if it's practical, also who cares? But I could just totally see her like walking around in her little shop, people coming in, people being a little confused why she's barefoot, but like whatever, she's good at her job, who cares? And these cool cool sweats, sorry, that have some cool physics to them, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I definitely used that unevenness elsewhere. I did it in the arms as well. I added a like puffy, not really a sleeve, it's like a half sleeve. It kind of reminds me of like Hatsune Miku's like arm, what do you call those? Like arm, whatever. They're like leg warmers, but arm warmers? They're not warmers, but like that kind of vibe. I put that on her arm, and then the other arm was doing something else. Again, her role, like, you're not gonna see that much on her as far as like, because you know, like for other characters, like what they do tends to be on them and represents like, you know, whether they be like a locksmith or like work with tools or whatever, you know, it's on them. But for her, since she's kind of techie, I didn't really lean too much into it. One thing I did do though, I thought that was fun, again, you can't see in SP Paint, but it's fine, you'll see it later, is on her earrings. As you know, as you don't know, I love earrings generally. I think it's visually very cool. And on Vaughn, she has giant earrings on. But for this one, since I wanted to keep them, I did little like stop and pause symbols because she's tech. So like I think anything tech works, even though it's music related, but who cares? So I did that. That was cool. And then I guess I'll talk about like the goggles and like what's the point of them. So in my brain, like when she's in combat, helping her teammates, the goggles help, like she puts them on and she can see things that like people normally can't see. So like she can see like the stats of the enemy, the status effects, debuffs, whatever, right? Weaknesses, whatever. Like really techie stuff that like really only we, the player, would know, not the characters playing. But I think it's a fun idea, a fun trope on games in general. So I figured that would be cool. So that's what those are for. I'm looking at design on the side, at other stuff. Oh, the color scheme. Again, unintentional, but my color scheme is now red being the accent color. So the colors matching the faction that I was talking about, Bellabog, whatever, it is what it is. Red is the accent. So I'm gonna lean into that with my normal other colors. I love neutral colors. I love white, I love black, grays, whatever. So her color scheme being this makes the most sense. Something I was really glad that I did was add orange. I don't know why, I do know why, I'll explain it, but if I didn't add it, it would have been fine, but for some reason adding the bright orange as a like minor color, it added a flair to it that I didn't think about going in, but it was a really good choice that I made. ZZZ is very flashy, it's very colorful, saturated, and so I wanted to add just that extra bump of color where I could, since most of my design is pretty neutral otherwise besides the red. But I think it was very tasteful how I added the orange. It's not random, but the places I do have it, like on, which again, this is one of those weird design features that make no like addition to her besides big and cool, is right now on the pants on the the left leg, her left, whatever, the leg with the hole in it that has two hoops in it. I made one red, one orange. Why? Because I can. Or her pant, not belt, her, what do you call it? The band of her pants. There we go. I did like a gradient into it because sure, visually looks cool, you know? And then I know I'm jumping around a little bit. The suspender, yeah, we'll call it a suspender. It wasn't there. I added it. Why? I don't know. It just visually looked nice, and I'm glad I did because it just added some more red and orange up into the upper body area. Again, this is a fun design for me that like has. For one, I'm not paid to work on ZZZ, so it doesn't have to go through 50 million revisions to look how they want to look. I can make it look as cool as I want. So there's a lot of guilty pleasure in this artwork, but I do feel that like your own art should already be a guilty pleasure. Like obviously you should, you know, experiment with different style things and like go out of your comfort zone, but sometimes you're very much allowed to just do things that you like and you know that you like going in. And that's it, because art's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an escape from the world, and you're just doing your thing. But anyway, currently we're doing the eyes, which I was pretty proud of. They're not that special, but compared to what I normally do, I did try to make them a little bit more detailed than usual, but still within what I do. And since jumping ahead, I'm sorry. Since I like white pupils already, it already made sense to do them. They're very eye-catching, very poppin', which is the whole point of the design. And the ZZZ to me it's very eye-catching. So I figured I'd make the eyes pop in that sense, and very graphic. That's the word I've been trying to find. It's very graphic, this entire drawing, which my style already is, but a bit more elevated in certain aspects. Just to, again, feel like ZZZ. Compared to like Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, they feel very like within a certain bound of something. Honkai Star Rail got better about designs and like being a little bit more unique, but still, they, as you saw at the beginning when I showed the examples of the body types between different characters, it's very samey still. But Zenless, man, they don't care. They got whoever, and I think that's great. More China-based games should do that, because unfortunately, people of color, which I don't know why we're pivoting to this, but whatever it is, what it is. People of color aren't represented in these games, hardly. At least in Zenless, like, it's not great, don't get me wrong, but at least we have different, like, species types to hold us over or something. But, yeah, people of color just are not represented, so any type of uniqueness in the designs we will have to take at the moment and push through that until we get what we're looking for. But anyway, now we're finally coloring, which is one of my favorite parts, of course, but pretty straightforward though. It's my traditional colors, just elevated a little bit. Another thing that I did that's just random is like on the side of my hair, those little triangles that float there. Literally no reason to be there. I was just like, sure, I think it's cute. It kind of represents like the hair tie, like bows kind of, but they're like digital artifacts essentially. It makes sense for her. So again, I'm not gonna have like the most like verbose, the most intelligent answer as to why I make decisions. Slight sidebar again. When I was in college, they really hammered in like having a rhyme and reason for doing something. After being out of it, I sometimes just don't care to have one. Like I just did it because it looks good. Bam! There's not a reason behind it. There's not like a that's not a word. Psychological, philosophy, whatever. I'm using words that make sense, kind of. I just don't have it, and that's totally fine. Create art to create and have fun. Ultimately, that's the goal, and I already said this, but I'm saying it again. Yeah, but anyway, I got over the design, pretty much all that I want to say with that. Now we can kind of pivot into like the lore. I did talk about it a little bit, but I'll get into it more in detail now. So of course, like I said, she owns a tech shop. Where in New Eridu, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And like I said, she would be ether support of something like that, buffer teammates. No faction, because that requires too much work to think about. And especially I can't really use the pre-existing characters as well, because they already are in their own respective factions and groups. But if I really want to go into it and flesh it out, I might make more group members, whatever, yada yada. But for now, she's just her and her alone. A cute little thing that I did was my boyfriend's character. He's not a part of this world. I haven't drawn him in this style, but I had to include him somehow. And I thought it was cute that he would be a rancher off, I can't think of the name of the area right now. But basically he's a rancher far off, away from the main city. And she wouldn't be near him either, but I could totally see her being kind of famous not like that famous, but like famous within the town for what she does. And he catches wind of this, and he was like gifted a computer by his friend, and he doesn't understand tech that much, and he visits her. And I just think that'd be cute to like spark off like a little chemistry, a little friendship to be eventual something other than that. But I just like the juxtaposition of like a super techie person and then a super like outdoorsy inept person. It works out really well in my brain. That's why I added him in. But anyway, she has no enemies really. She just does her thing. Like, how could she have enemies? She's literally just like chill, doesn't really bother anyone. She'll turn on some tunes in her shop. Like, she'll sit and chat with you. Like, no qualms, nothing going on, you know. Oh, since I'm seeing it happen, she's also a bat Thyran, in case that wasn't clear. Okay, I'll be so honest. In Zenless, Thyrans have a spectrum of like where they lie. Some of them are as animalistic as Lycon or Ben, who are literally like anthropomorphic animals, versus going all the way back to the other side of like Nekomata, who is a Nekomata. You know, so there's a spectrum between all of it. And for her, I didn't know how to make like a bat Thyran that like made sense. I wanted to lean more towards like a Nekomata, right? Because I didn't feel like drawing fur and everything. So again, it's my design to begin with, like originally. So I gave my traditional ears, which are bat-ish. And then I decided to give her like bat wings that are there. I didn't go out of my way to design it on the other side with the cuff or the sleeve, because there's no point. But I would just assume that I just thought about this on the fly, but I could totally see her like wrapping it around her arm, like sport tape, kind of, sort of, to keep them out the way. I could see that. That might be uncomfortable, but whatever. It's a video game. Who cares? But yeah, I decided to represent it on one arm as like, hey, she's a bat firing. Like, it's not that obvious or clear, but sure. Since bats don't have tails, like really, that, you know, are very obvious, you know, whatever. That's just a tidbit that made sense to make her a bat firing, considering I'm a vampire slash bat person thing. But anyway, yeah, that's about it really. I mean, it's a pretty simple like design. I really had a fun time doing it, honestly. I'm pretty proud of it. I think visually it got the things across that I wanted to get across. And people enjoyed it as well when I posted it. And hopefully this proves that I know how to design things, kind of, sorta. Is it guilty pleasure-ish? Yes. Do I care? No. I think character design is something that, depending on what you're doing it for, will be very like a guilty pleasure, or will be more technical and like you're thinking more and more about the world building and everything, which I did. But you know, again, Zenless is a type of game that is not that like, the story's really good, but it's not like the most grounded. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, but you know, it's a sci-fi world, so like you can really go as far as you want as far as design and lore and whatever, and most things will probably fit. But that is a lot of yapping from me. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we're towards the end of the video. Here is the design that I made. I love Yvonne very much in Zenless. And this is teetering towards the 10 art style challenge. We're not doing that, but maybe this year I will, as a obligatory artist mention that we all should do. And I'm only mentioning this now because I was watching a video by Alpine Squib. They also did one, and it looked great. But I think for me, I should do it as to, again, prove that I can design something. But doing different art styles is also very helpful for practice. So it's something I've been always wanting to do since I was a kid, and I think this year we're gonna make it happen, and see what I can do. I'm still debating if I want to do like official media or do artists that I know, like famous-ish artists. I think for the first one I'll do like media and stuff, but I would also love to do an art style challenge of different artists on here, on YouTube, on Twitter, or whatever, just to represent them, of course, because they deserve it. But to kind of show what I'm inspired by and see, you know, just a way to hone in my craft a bit. But anyway, I'm tired of yapping. We're at the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed and listened to me chat about my interests, as that's the whole point of this thing. Thank you for your patience, as always. I'm trying to be somewhat weekly or bi-weekly on videos, give or take here and there. So bear with me as I try to figure out the kinks of that and my motivation and figure out video ideas, generally speaking. And of course, I'm open to suggestions. Please give them to me. Thankfully, I have other fellow artists who do YouTube that I can get inspiration from and ask them about, but it gets kind of daunting, like, to make videos every week or every other week or heck, every month. So thank you guys for the support behind me, as always. And with that, we're getting out of here. Please have a good week. Have a good month. I'll be back before the month, but I'm just saying that just because, in case you see this video and you don't see me again. And I appreciate the support. Bye, guys.